Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Tuesday tip, where in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to do one of my personal favorite tricks, the candy bar. So the concept behind the candy bar is pretty simple. You're just taking your foot and putting it between your arms above your crossbar and then bringing it back to the pedals. But actually trying this trick can be very intimidating, especially if you don't have handlebars like mine, where they are made for tricks like this and to make tricks like this easier. But I personally learned this trick with a normal crossbar, and that means that you can too. So before we get into how you actually do a candy bar, let's talk about some prerequisites that I think you should know before you learn how to candy bar. And the first thing I would say with this is you need to be comfortable jumping your bike. You need to be comfortable getting some air and coming back down and landing smoothly and staying in control of the bike, because naturally you need somewhere to try this trick, and I wouldn't say that a bunny hop is the best place to learn it. So you're gonna wanna be able to jump out of a ramp, fly out of a box jump like the one that I have behind me here, or at least be able to jump a pyramid hip or something like that. You just need to be comfortable getting a foot or two of airtime on your bike. Another prerequisite to this one is obviously the 1-footer. This is the whole concept behind the trick, because you can't do it without taking your foot off. I would say that this is more of an intermediate to beginner level trick. So one thing that I would definitely recommend wearing while trying candy bars are shin guards and possibly knee pads, because when you're bringing your foot back to your pedal, sometimes it's easy to just barely catch the back of the pedal and have it shoot up and hit you in the shin or knee. And if you have metal pedals or plastic pedals with metal pins or anything like that, hitting your shin can leave some gnarly cuts. That's something that we want to prevent if possible. So I would say if you have them, wear them, and if you don't, proceed with caution, because you could slip pedals and get a really bad shinner. And with that being said, let's get into how you actually do this trick. And as I just said, a prerequisite is a 1-footer. So that's going to be the first step, other than finding where you want to do it. Once you figure out where you want to do the trick and you're getting the prerequisite foot or two of air time that we talked about earlier, you're going to want to start practicing your 1-footers, starting out small, just taking your foot off and putting it back on. But before you get to the candy bar and actually trying to do this, I would say that you want to be comfortable taking your foot off and putting it out as far as you possibly can and getting it back to the pedal. And this is a trick that is all about timing. You really don't need that much time to do it, but in your head, whenever you're first learning it, you need all the time in the world. One thing about candy bars that might give you a little bit more peace of mind while trying them is the fact that you don't have to land with your foot on the pedal. And what I mean by this is that you don't have to get everything put back together, and you don't have to get your foot back to the pedal before your bike lands on whatever you're trying it on in order for the trick to work. So once you get comfortable taking your foot off and extending it as far as you possibly can, you may even want to practice before actually trying to commit to the candy bar, to take your foot off and leave it off until you land, just to show your brain that all it is, if you don't get this trick and you get it back but you don't make it to the pedals, is landing without your foot on. Another thing to keep in mind while trying candy bars is that it is possible for your foot to get stuck in candy bar position. If this happens and you don't lose your cool, you can roll away from it normal and it'll be just fine. This is another reason why I had you guys practice jumping with a 1-footer and landing with your foot off of the pedal, because if you're prepared for not having your foot on the pedal when you're rolling away, it will just be a better outcome in case your foot does get stuck. And I've had it get stuck on some pretty scary tricks and had it end up being just fine. And with that being said, let's move into the second step of the candy bar. This one really doesn't have that many steps. This one is to start trying to put your foot over your crossbar in between your arms. There is only one thing that you can do to make this happen and to do this, other than potentially trying it into a foam pit, and that is to just try it. All you need to do to convince yourself that you can do it is be comfortable with your foot all the way off of the pedal as far as possible and start kicking it forward over your bars. How difficult this feels and may be for you might depend upon the rise of your bars. because the higher your bars are, the higher you got to get your foot to get it over the crossbar and back. But either way, it doesn't matter how high your crossbar is, how high your stem rise is, or anything like that. It's going to work if you try hard enough. This is another one of those tricks that just comes down to commitment and actually forcing yourself to try it. And I know you're probably sitting there like, yeah, this is easy for you to say from behind the camera, and you would be right about that. This is definitely a scary trick, but I promise you, if you commit to it and you try, you'll be able to at least get your foot over the crossbar and back, and that will give you enough confidence to continue on to step 3, which is just putting it all together and bringing your foot back to the pedal and landing. It's one of those tricks that if you have the confidence and commitment for it and you already can do 1-footers, all you have to do is push yourself into trying it and commit to the trick, and it will work. I would say that once you're comfortable doing this trick fly out, that you could do it anywhere that you can catch some air and you're comfortable on your bike. You can do it over box jumps, over spines, in air outs, over hips, literally anywhere where you can catch a few feet of air, you should be able to do a candy bar. And I even like to do candy bars in tricks like fufanoos and abubakas, and I've done them in 5 taps and just tons of other places. I love doing them in ice pick stalls. So it's one of those versatile tricks that you can really take just about anywhere once you learn it. So that's why I think it's a great trick to learn on your bike, and it never lets things get too serious. And with that being said, that's gonna wrap up this video on how you do a candy bar. I hope that it helped you learn how to candy bar, and if it did, let me know in the comments down below. Leave any questions that you guys might have down there as well, and I will get to every single one that I possibly can to the best of my abilities. If you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button down below. I come out with these tips and tricks videos every Tuesday, along with a BMX news video on Fridays, and other types of riding videos and streams throughout the week. I want to thank you guys again for being here, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another video. Goodbye.